All right, so I rolled the frame outside and degreased it and power washed it. It's still pretty dirty. It's gonna need sandblasted, especially like up here by the motor where the motor mounts are. Got a lot of the grease and stuff off. Blew it off with the air hose and then rolled it back in. And I also got what I call the frame table inside, which was a job in itself. Rolling the frame outside and rolling it back in by myself wasn't too bad. It rolls pretty easy, but man, that frame table is a beast. I used my cherry picker to pick it up, pick the front of it up, and then I backed the trailer underneath of it with the mower. In the process of doing that, the plunger deal on my cherry picker broke, so I had to go get a new long ram deal, which was all right because I got this deal. It has the air attachment. Makes it pretty nice. Yeah, but I managed to get the frame table inside. Going to get the frame up and then hopefully roll the frame table at least under like the front part where I'm going to be doing the body mounts. I can put it back on those dollies if need be and kind of move it around. Like when I go to do the rear notch and whatever I do on the rear part of the frame, I can just move the frame table back and put the front on jack stands and level it. I still have some of that 2x4 that I used for the gantry, and I thought about extending the frame table, but it's already big and bulky, and once I'm done with it, I have to store the thing. And I don't want something like that. I don't want to have to cut it back up to store it. I think this is going to work well. I can just move it where I need it and weld some like all thread or weld some tabs and then put all thread on them for the body mount so I know where 3 inches is or 3.5 inches, whatever I end up doing. And also for like the trans cross member, I'm gonna have to cut those off, do something with that, but I'm gonna mark with all thread where it mounts. That way I know where to go back to once I make a new one. And also I might try to save that. I might just cut off the top and then just put a flat plate across. That way I can save the mounting points on that. But I have a feeling that's gonna hit the cab once the body's dropped. It's obviously in front of the cab. I marked the rear of the cab right there. Front of the cab right there. Going to set you up on a tripod and get to maneuvering things around and get this frame settled on the frame table. So I got the frame up above the frame table. I'm probably just gonna do like a piece of that 2x4 across up front and then across in the rear. That way it's up a little bit higher than just the frame table on the ground. I went ahead and checked to see if this was level. As you can see, it's a little bit off, but there is some threaded holes down there, in there, that I'm gonna get a bolt for and then get one long enough that will go to the floor, and that way I can thread the bolt in and level the table that way. So I'm kind of at a standstill for now until I get those bolts and get the table leveled. I got a lot done this weekend, so I'm thankful for that. And just slowly knocking things out. Once I get those bolts, I'll come back out here and obviously get it leveled and get those pieces underneath the frame and set the frame down on it. Bolts acquired. Of course, they were metric, so it was a little hard to, first I went to Menards, they didn't have them. I went to Tractor Supply, they didn't have them. And finally Ace had 5-inch M14 bolts. But it's 5 inches from the plate on the frame table to the ground. So I'm probably gonna have to weld a couple of these on the head of the bolt to give it some more height adjustability, and also it'll give it like a little platform to sit on. That way the head of the bolt's just not on the ground, which I don't think that really matter, but it'll be better with those. All right, so this is what I've come up with. Got this plate welded to this bolt, and then they just thread in under there, and then I can put a wrench on the head of the bolt and adjust the height that way and get the table level. All right, so across the front, level. Down the driver's side, level. Down the passenger side, also level. So that just leaves one more. Throw this thing across the back there, level. Hell yeah. That worked out great, those little adjusters. Little time consuming to make those, but well worth it in the end. This goes back to those go-kart racing days. Used to level the scales when we got to the track. That's what gave me that idea. But now that I got the frame table level, I can make a stand for the front of the frame and then a stand for like the rear of the frame to tack the mount to the table, and then I'll tack the frame to the stand. That way it's elevated up off the table a little bit, and that'll hold it in place so I know that everything's square, nothing will move, get everything to stay stationary. Let's get to making some stands. All right, I got the stands loaded to the table underneath the frame, front and back. Level on that deal, level on the back one, and level from the back stand to the front stand. Gonna go ahead and drop the frame down on the stands, and I'll probably just tack the frame to them. That way it can't move, like I said. And yeah, go from there, get to getting the body mounts, the reference points for the body mounts loaded onto the table, and keep trucking right along. Okay, so I've got all the height reference points for the body mounts on. One back there as well. All 6 of them. I don't know what that is, probably like 4x4. Welded that to the frame table, and then I'll come in here and I'll mark the top of the body mount, and then I'll measure down 3 inches or whatever I end up doing and put another mark, and that way I know you just slide the body mount straight down, weld it on at the new mark, and everything is square and stays straight. I'm gonna do one more for the trans mount across there, because I'm gonna have to cut those off and make new mounts for the side of the transmember for the transmission cross member. Get that welded on the table. I'll set you up on a time lapse and get that done real quick. My big brother rode an Indian Scout, black like a jacket. American spirit hanging out of his mouth, just like our daddy. Alright, got the trans height location all finished up. I got it marked right there with a piece of tape along with all the body mounts. Just go and mark with a piece of tape at the top of them, and then I can measure from the bottom of the tape down 3 inches and go from there. Next up will be getting the body mounts cut off and moved down on the frame of the truck, as well as getting the transmission crossmember tabs is what I'm calling them, cut off, and then go and work the inside of the frame to get it so I can cut the top of the frame off underneath the cab where the cab would sit. But that'll be in the next video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Come back and watch the body drop take place.